So far, we've done the Panasonic G9 and the Canon EOS RP full setup tutorial on the Zhiyun Weebill-S, and both the Panasonic G9 and the EOS RP has full-fledged functionality on the Weebill-S. In today's video, we're going to do a setup on the Sony A6500 right here with the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. So whilst the DJI Ronin SC, which I did a lot of tutorials on, have given their full support for all Sony mirrorless cameras, and that's because the DJI Ronin SC was designed specifically for mirrorless cameras, and Sony's have the most number of mirrorless cameras right there in the market. And currently, even for myself, I'm considering upgrading to the Sony A6600, but I'm still a little bit torn between Fuji's latest entry-level camera, the Fujifilm X-A7. I've never used a Fujifilm camera before, and that camera for an entry-level camera only costing about 800 bucks seems like a pretty good buy to me. So coming back to the Zhiyun Weebill-S, so far on the camera compatibility list, Sony cameras are still the most compared to any other brand of cameras in the market today. However, there is one key important feature missing for those of you Sony users out there who shoot in manual settings. If you don't do your own manual settings and normally shoot in automatic mode, then this will not be a problem for you. If you're the type of Sony user that normally changes your settings like your shutter speed, your aperture, your white balance according to the scene that you're filming, then you might want to hold off on the Zhiyun Weebill-S at the moment and wait for probably new firmware updates to come out and see if they fix that feature for Sony cameras or not. Besides the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens, I'm also gonna try this setup with this pancake lens. This is the kit lens. This is the 16 to 50 millimeters f3.5 to 5.6. The reason why I want to try this out is that remember the time when I did this lens on the Sony A6500 and I encountered some issues on the DJI Ronin SC. This setup was actually too light. Normally for most of my setups I try to do as heavy as possible to show you that the gimbal is able to take the camera setup, which is either very heavy and big or really front heavy. But for the A6500 with the kit lens, that issue was it being too light. So we're going to try it out as well on the Weebill-S and see if we encounter any problems. So let's get straight to the video. Alright, so let's get straight to the mounting. Get your A6500, take off the lens cap. And because this lens is actually pretty thick, you can see in comparison to the body here, we would require the camera riser. But unlike this lens, the kit lens, you don't need the camera riser. All you need is the quick adjustment plate. So we're going to screw on this camera riser right now. Okay, so we're going to screw in the camera riser first into the bottom screw of your A6500. Just get a coin or a screwdriver as mentioned just now. You can use your finger at first. Because the lens is pretty thick but not very long, you can probably give more support to the back. If you want to flush it, you can try it out and see if the quick adjustment plate extends out. It doesn't extend out too much. I think that would be good. If you don't want it to extend too much to the top, you can always shift your camera riser slightly backwards. And then once you're happy with it, get your screwdriver or your coin and make sure that it's flushed, it's straight. Tighten it as much as possible because it will tend to slide if it's not tight enough. So get it really tight. Next up, get your quick adjustment plate, which you separated from the base. So this was the base, so we already separated it just now. So with the lens hole pointing forward, this is where we will screw in the lens support. So make sure that this hole is actually facing the direction of the lens. Just screw these two screws into the bottom, these two holes over here. So that will be pretty easy. Yep, so once you're happy with that, you don't have to push it all the way to the front if you don't want to. I think this amount where the lens support is would be enough to support the body weight and the lens weight as well. But if you want to push it forward slightly just to make sure that the lens is properly supported, you can, and it should look something like this. A little bit of trial and error is required on the first try normally, so just tighten that once you're happy. Make sure that it's really tight, and try to make sure that it's not slanting as well. Make sure that it's straight. So right now I can see that mine is pretty much straight. So last part, we're going to put on the lens support, which is on the front right here. So just put this on. Make sure that the lens is supported. The lens support is touching the lens itself, like that. And then just screw it in. Use your index finger and your thumb to hold the lens support in place while you screw it in. And then last of all, we're going to need to get the base of the quick adjustment plate. Press the metal screw, but don't hold the turning knob. Just press it in without holding the turning knob, and just slide it in and make sure that it's secure. Then push in and turn the knob. You need to press it down and turn the knob, and we're all done. So we're ready for setup right now. Right now is the time to remove your lens cap if you haven't, and if you want to throw on an ND filter, you can do so right now. So coming to the Weebill-S, how do you unlock? There are 3 locks highlighted in red. Firstly, at the top axis here, just unlock that. Sometimes it is pretty stiff. Unlock this one over here as well. And if you turn it around on this axis over here, you can see the last one. Just flip it down and open it up like this. So with this protruding part of the Weebill-S facing yourself, open it up with the roll axis towards you, and then you can lock all the axes again so that it's easier for you to mount. You have 2 locks over here and here, so make sure that it's loosened before you actually attempt to put this on. So this bottom piece here should be to the right, and this bottom piece here should be downwards. It shouldn't be open up like that. It should be downwards like that, so that it's able to slide. I'm just going to throw on the camera, press the silver button over here so that it slides in all the way. Unlock your tilt axis over here. So unlock that, and then now we're just trying to balance it. And right now we're just trying to balance it as best as possible. So right now the marker is at number 1. So I'm just gonna, since it balances without me touching it, I'm just gonna tighten this so that it doesn't move. So we got 1 axis done, so I'm at marker number 1. And right now we're going to do the left and right. So left and right, we're gonna unlock this one over here. So just unlock this, hold the camera. Okay, so I'm gonna tilt it this way so that you can see. So right now it's heavy to the right. So we're gonna shift the whole camera to the left. Shift it to the left until it balances without you touching it. Take note for this camera, or basically most of the cameras, is that the battery, the grip, is heavier on the right side because the grip is on the right side. So the grip and the battery are all on the right side. So the right side of your camera is going to be heavier than the left side of the camera, just for you to take note. So slide this until it balances on its own like that. That looks pretty alright. Tighten the screw below. Below there's a lever. Make sure that it's balanced before you tighten the lever. So you can, if it's, because the right side is heavier than the left side, if you probably would want to balance it slightly more to the left, where the camera is tilting to the left instead of getting it straight up. Normally we would get it straight up, but in this case we probably would want to get the camera slightly tilting to the left before pushing in the lever like that. So it's slightly tilting to the left. Reason being is that when we tilt it upwards, now it's balanced like this, but you can see it's tilting a little bit to the left. When we balance this upwards, because this side is heavy with the grip and the battery, it will tend to tilt more to the right if that's too much to the left. You loosen it and push it in a little bit to the right, and tighten it again. tilt it upwards, and we got it straight facing upwards like this. So that looks pretty good. And then last of all, since we already got most of the axis balanced, let's check out the marking over here. We're going to tighten this first. Remember to tighten it. And the marking over here is at about 1.1, 1.2 around there. The marking over here is about 1.1, 1.2. And the marking on the quick adjustment plate, as mentioned, over here is at number 1. And right now we're going to do the pan axis. So we're going to unlock the screw at the bottom here. Unlock the lock. Then for the pan axis, just tilt it upwards and flip it to the left. It stays like this without you touching it, means it's balanced. And just tighten the screw. My marking for this is at number 3. I don't know if you can see that, but it's number 3 over here exactly. So last part is to plug in the cable. This cable, like I said just now, you need to look for the USB, micro USB to multi USB cable. Then we're going to take the straight end, this end, plug it into your A6500. And then for the other end, the 90-degree head goes into the micro USB port of your Weebill-S, and now we got to power it on. And then power on your camera as well once that's done. Okay, so we got this done balanced, so we can control it right now. Control the gimbal. The A6500 is on the compatibility list, but like I mentioned, one thing missing from the Sony cameras right now is that it does not have functionality in terms of changing your camera aperture, your shutter speed, your white balance, and your ISO on this dial at the bottom of the Weebill-S itself. So currently there is no support for that for the Sony cameras. I did show you on the G9 and the EOS RP that you can use this dial to control that the aperture on the LCD actually appears. But for Sony cameras, all Sony cameras at the moment don't have this feature. So let's check out the settings on the Sony A6500. Under the menu settings, scroll all the way to the right. And under setup 1, scroll to page 4. And under USB connection, make sure that it is under auto. And USB LUN settings is single, and USB power supply is switched to on. Okay, so as for settings, right now you can see that there isn't the camera icon at the top left, it's blank. So in order to fix that, press this dial once down. You rotate the wheel. This wheel is rotatable. Rotate it once down to camera. Press the right button, and then rotate left to go up to Sony. Press the right button. Can actually press the right button as well on the flash, so that connects. And then right now you actually need to turn off the gimbal again. You can go back. You need to turn off, or it's already connected. So since it's already connected, you can just press the record button to test whether the connection works. With the camera icon, once it's connected, you will be able to see the camera icon at the top left-hand corner. If you don't see it, just power it off and then power it on again, and the camera icon should appear. Yep, so basically that key feature whereby, like on the Panasonics and the Canons, instead of seeing the words PF here, you will actually see your camera aperture. For example, right now I'm using f4. You should see f4.0 on this screen here instead of PF. Then if you press the right button, you are able to change the aperture to increase or decrease the aperture and stuff, same as your ISO, your white balance, and your shutter speed. But if you are a type of person that shoots in automatic mode all the time, then you shouldn't be worried about this. So yeah, so basically that was the setup, and right now I'm going to throw on this lens over here and see how that goes. remove the lens cap and put on the quick adjustment plate, and we only need one screw. Okay, so once you've mounted your A6500 on to the quick adjustment plate over here, you can see that I've got the screw at number 2, and remember we need to turn on this A6500 before we do the mounting on the Weebill-S, because the lens pops out. So if it's in and it's off, and it's in, your lens is in and you balance it, when you turn on your camera, it will pop out and make your balance front heavy. So it's better to turn it on like this with the lens popping out before you do the mounting. So I got it number 2 with only the quick adjustment plate, no camera riser, and only one screw. Pop it in. Tighten the lever. Oh, sorry, loosen the axis, the tilt axis, and then just balance it until it balances. It's something like that. It's about 0.3 there. Alright, 0.3, and right now we're going to do the left to right tilt, unlock this roll axis, and you'll see that we've already got this to the maximum. I'm going to show you. So it's heavy to the right. I'll shift it all the way to the left. It's still tilting to the right, but we're already at the maximum, so we can't do anything about it. Just tighten the lever below. We're going to do the up axis, and you will notice, I'll just plug in this wire, that it's still tilts a little bit to the right, but nothing too much to worry about. It's still a little bit to the right. We are at marking number about 1.8 on this marking over here. On the tilt axis, we're about 1.8 to 2, so just make sure that it's pointing upwards without you touching it. Just tighten it, and then we're going to do the last axis, which is the pan axis. You can see that it's already tilting, but you're already at the maximum on the left, so we can't do anything about it. And we're just going to loosen this, the pan axis, and then we're going to flip it to the right as per usual. And if it stays, then that's good. We are also the same as the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens, which is at marking number 2. And yeah, I'm going to plug in the cable. So I'm at number 2 on this axis below here. And I'm just going to do some auto tuning. Although the Weebill-S seems, the Weebill chain claims that the Weebill-S can do its own auto tuning as best as possible, but we are going to manually tune it. Turn on your gimbal, and your camera is already on. This is a learning lesson from the DJI Run SE. In order to ensure that this light setup is balanced, press the down button. Under the motor option, press right, and just press right again, and you will see auto tune. You will see your camera vibrating as well violently. Check OK. Then right now we go back to L mode, so we just press the trigger button once to go back into PF mode. And then we're going to try out a 360 barrel and see if it works. Okay, so just make sure all your axes are unlocked before you start attempting anything. So in order to get to your 360 barrel, just the vertigo mode basically on your Weebill-S, just double tap the POV button and you will be in vertigo mode. I'm going to press the record button. I don't have a memory card inside here, but we're just going to test out the barrel. I'm going to center this, vertigo mode, and we're just going to try it out. This will be the hardest thing to do, so if your setup is good and well balanced, oh man, you can see that is it doing well? If you turn it, of course, it will go slightly off balance. That seems good. Everything's working well. No funny noises and stuff, so basically mission success. You're gonna recenter this by hitting it once and then double pressing the trigger button again to get it back to PF mode. Alright, so yep, so basically that's it, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video tutorial on the Sony A6500 on the Zhiyun Weebill-S. In the next video, I'll be doing a setup on the Weebill-S with the Canon 200D, which is a really popular entry-level camera on the market today. So hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notifications button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.